June 27th, 2026. Dear Tired Me. Do you ever wonder how you can sleep all night and still wake up tired? It's almost as if the more I sleep, the more exhausted I become. Today I've had a coffee and an energy drink and still can't shake this feeling off. Usually when this happens, it is because I am reaching the depression dip of my bipolar cycle, or I am worried about something. Today doesn't feel like that. It is increasingly annoying to have such a vast knowledge of vocabulary, and yet I can't find the words to describe what I am feeling. Today has been a pretty good day. I ate great food, I talked to my kiddo, and something still feels off. Something still feels broken. I can't put my finger on it. I can't see it. I just know that there's something there, something looming in the distance, over my shoulder. How do you shake that feeling? And what do you do about that feeling when all you want to do is sleep it off? Today, I didn't let myself. I kept myself busy. I wrote, and I watched TV, and I zoned out, and I played on my phone. I didn't sleep. I don't know where that got me. I still feel like something's off. I still feel tired. And not the kind of tired where you go to bed and you go right to sleep, but the kind of tired where you know you can't turn your brain off, but it's not thinking about anything in particular. The kind of tired where you're emotionally exhausted, but your body hasn't caught up with you. What do you do with that? And then today I had an interesting conversation. Privacy is something ridiculously simple that people don't understand how not to violate. Which then reminds me of growing up in my household, where privacy was a privilege and not a right. I think that people actually believe that you're not entitled to privacy. I grew up in a household with 6 siblings. I cannot remember not sharing a bedroom. I can't remember what it's like to be able to sit in a room by yourself that wasn't a bathroom. And that's what I did. I'd grab a book, I'd go into the bathroom, I'd close the door, and I'd lock it. It was the only place I could have solitude where no one would bother me. And then I think now what that has to look like for children today. We give them cell phones, they have cars, they have Uber, they have all these things that they have access to. But do we trust them with it? And if we don't trust them with it, why do we allow them to have it? So my kiddo has a cell phone. I don't have access to their cell phone. I don't feel the need to have access to their cell phone. I feel like if I need to know what's going on with my kid, I should talk to my kid. In the same way that I wished my parents would have just talked to me instead of snooping around my things. The invasion of privacy to go through someone's journal or their bedroom as if you're entitled to know exactly what was on their mind at every moment of the day is ridiculous. I can't imagine raising a kid where they don't trust me to talk to me and tell me things on their own, where they feel like they have to hide things from me. That's not a world that I choose to live in. I choose to not pass on the same trauma that I went through. That means being able to hold conversations and talk about the gross things and the yucky things and the not so comfortable things. It means that if my kid wants to come to me and tell me that they're ready to explore their sexuality, that I could have that conversation and not immediately freak out about it. It means if my kid comes to me and says, hey, I don't feel like a girl. That's not who I am. I could accept that conversation. There should be no judgments. There should be no anger. It should just be, I hear you, I see you, I accept you. And we live in a society where that's so difficult to do. I feel like we are quick to say that we're capable of doing that, but then our actions show something differently. We're capable about talking about doing it. I could be accepting of you, you could be accepting of me, we could all live peacefully in the world. Up until it comes time to practice it, and something doesn't sit right with you the way that you want it to, and then all that goes out the window. These are the things that keep me up. Do they always affect me? No. But that's mental health. Mental health is a endless stream of thoughts, not always connected to each other, not always cohesive. They're just there, taking up space, keeping me awake, making me tired. And yet somehow, I'm still expected to function as a human being, as a wife, as a mom, as a successful member of society. I don't get to just be tired. We don't live in a society where we can acknowledge that sometimes we're just exhausted. We can't afford to be exhausted. At the end of the day, our families have to be taken care of, and that's not a burden. It's not a curse. But heaven forbid someone wants to check out for a while and say, like, hey, I need that vacation. Then they're looked at like they're crazy. Heaven forbid your child say, you know, today I just don't have the mental capacity to go to school. As parents, we should be able to say, hey, you need that mental day, take that mental day. That's not how that works, unfortunately. We live in a society where if you don't go to school, then they could come after me because you missed too many days. If I don't go to work, I get fired because, well, they really needed you there. But are we doing our best for just showing up to show up? I think that's why our country is the way that it is now. The expectation is you're just supposed to be there. You're just supposed to do the right thing. But the right thing doesn't always seem right. Yes, we go to work to pay our bills. Yes, when we get into bills, we should pay them. I get that. But if at the end of the day, your life isn't worth living and you don't want to exist, is showing up to work the right thing? Is putting yourself in a position where your mental health takes a dive the right thing? There have been many a times that I've gone to work. I've driven to work with these looming thoughts in my head that I hope my car broke down. I hope I got stopped on a train track. I hoped I would slide off the road in a snowstorm. And yet I still went to work and I still pretended that I wanted to be there and I did what I needed to do. But was it the right thing? Did I do what was right for me? Oftentimes the answer is no. We can't afford to do what's right for us. We can't afford to acknowledge that we're tired and we're drained and that we need help. We can't say that we need help in a certain way. I think that we've decided as a society getting help looks very specific. In mental health, it looks like therapy. It looks like medicine. It looks like using your coping skills. What if it's not a one-size-fits-all? What if mental health looks like, today I just need to bed rot? What if it looks like, I need to sit here with my stuffed animal and just cry? What if it looks like, I just need to sit in a room with somebody, but don't touch me, don't talk to me, don't acknowledge me. I just need to know that you're there. Do we give space for that? Are we allowed to give space for that? And then who gets to decide that? Who gets to decide how we take care of our mental health? Why is that supposed to be something that everybody else gets an opinion on? As if you know what goes on in my head. I can tell you some of the things, but I can never tell you the nuances of how it works. I could tell you that the voices in my head say that I'm not worth it. And those are the words, but unless you could hear how it plays in my head, it doesn't mean anything to you. Usually you say, oh, I'm not worth it. And the response that you get from somebody is, oh, but you are. Well, if I'm worth it, then wouldn't you listen to what I'm saying versus just responding with something that's no bearing on what I said? That's how that works. Previously at my job, I worked with children with their own mental illnesses. And I asked them a very important question. I asked them what their favorite pie was. And yes, it is a ridiculously silly question. I know that. They knew that. They pretended with me because why not? My favorite pie is pecan pie. And I would ask them, okay, can you eat a whole pie at one time? And everybody always answers that question the same way. Of course I can. Yes, I can. Really? Open your mouth and shove it in. Well, no, I can't do that. Right, because you can't eat a whole pie at one time. What you can do is take one bite at a time. So then I learned to ask my kiddos when they were having a rough day, what's your one bite? Today, my one bite looked like getting out of bed. It looked like taking a shower when I tried to talk myself out of it. It looked like me going to sit in my living room on my couch instead of staying in my bed where I wanted to be. Because sometimes taking a bite is the easiest and only thing you can do. Somehow we can reconcile in our heads that eating too much of a good thing, our pie, can make us sick. Okay, mental health works the same way. If I'm trying to work on all of it at one time, as we do typically in therapy, well, how are you feeling? What are you thinking? Why do you think that? Your feelings are valid. That's great. Yes, I know. Today I got out of bed. Give me my credit. I made it to my appointment. Give me my credit. No, I'm not of the belief that life is a participation award. I don't feel like that's what needs to happen. But I do think that there's a time and place where we acknowledge that sometimes that one small bite of pie is all that someone can do. Asking somebody to go to work and take care of others or take care of anything else when the only thing they could take a bite out of that day was to get out of bed is ridiculous. That sounds ridiculous. Thankfully, I don't work on the weekends for the most part. But I do work with kids. And you're telling me that with how I feel, I should have got up, got dressed, got in my car, and drove to take care of somebody else's child. That makes the most sense. Versus taking care of myself. But that's not how our world works. We don't get to take care of our own needs. We don't get to look after ourselves. We don't get to listen to the voices in our head that say, hey, you need to take a break. Hey, it's going too far. Hey, this is too much. We just get to be tired. We get to let the weight hang on our shoulders until We can't hold it anymore. And then everybody wants to know, like, why are you freaking out? Why are you going crazy? What's the big deal? The big deal? I've been communicating to you for a while now that I'm tired. And your response is always, well, go to bed. I do. But I'm still tired. Well, just get off your phone before you go to sleep. If you just get off your phone so many minutes before you go to sleep, you'll feel better. Sure. That's what it is. It's my wanting to look at TikTok before I lay down to go to sleep. It's my wanting to eat a meal before I lay down to go to sleep. It's everything but the fact that my mental health says I can't do this. There's too much on my plate. I cannot handle it. I cannot do it. And I don't want to do it. And even with that being the case, my responsibility is to still show up every time as if I didn't just explain I can't. But we don't get to make that choice for ourselves, let alone make that choice for our children. How do I raise a child to be able to advocate for themselves when I struggle to advocate for myself? How do I teach a child to acknowledge, hey, it's okay to be tired today? It's okay to choose you today. It's okay to say, I don't have the capacity to do that. If I can't lead by example, I think that's my biggest fear. I think that's probably what makes me the most tired, is wanting to teach the people around me to do something that I'm not sure I know how to do yet. What if I screw up? What if I make a mistake? I don't want to give a kid what I was given. I don't want to give them the stress and the anxiety and the trauma of just not knowing how to do it right, because I didn't learn how to do it right. And so I'm just tired. When's the last time you asked your child, how are you feeling? And genuinely wanted to know how they were feeling. Not their, I'm okay, I'm good. No, like their deep thoughts, where your child looks you dead in your soul and is like, hey, I struggled today. Everything in me wanted to pick up something and cut myself. And your first reaction isn't to judge them. Is your child allowed to be that tired with you? I know that there were plenty of times in my life that I wanted to pick up a bottle of pills and swallow them. But I would have never told my parents that. I could never communicate to them that I was that tired. And so now, I still struggle with it. As exhausted as I was today, instead of giving myself grace and letting myself sleep, I said, nope. I'm going to force myself to be awake. I'm going to force myself to do this, that, and the other, because that is my responsibility. My child is almost 16 years old. I'm sure had I told my child, hey, I'm just tired today, they would have understood. I presume that if I had told my husband, hey, I'm just tired today, he would have understood. And yet, I felt the need to put on a performance instead, which only makes me more tired. I don't know. It just seems like the easy thing to do is to wear a mask. And so many of us wear this mask. And it's exhausting. It's not helping us. It's not helping the people around us. We think that we're hiding it. We rarely are. So what do? When do we learn to advocate for ourselves and say, hey, I'm just tired. I need a break today. And it's not that I need a break from you. I just need a break from me. And the best way for me to take a break from me is to lay down and sleep. No harm, no foul, no wanting to hurt myself, no wanting to take all my meds, just a, hey, I'm tired, my brain's overworked, I just need to numb out. Maybe I will learn to do that at some point. Maybe not only will I learn to do it, but I'll learn to teach my child to do it as well. Maybe. Until then, just remember, today is another page in the story. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be written. And before you close your journal tonight, ask yourself, what's your bite of pie?